Hello. You do?
This is just a mic test. Mic testing. 3, 2, 1.
Is everything looking better so far? Just gonna test the camera a bit just to make sure that all the modes and stuff are set correctly. And yeah, it's really cold. They said it was supposed to be snowing actually. It actually feels like it's rain right now, or wet snow. I'll have time to come here one day during the nighttime, you guys, and see the actual gunfire off. So with this replacement camera today, while testing this out, in my spare time, I just wanted to take the time to once again thank you everybody who basically donated your time and money to help me get this replacement. Just for some interesting stats, the video that I uploaded the day after when I lost the camera, according to the statistics, the video was rendered and published on the 18th of February at about 12:42 a.m. at midnight, and the first donation came at 3:42 a.m. So literally almost 3 hours later, one of you basically sprung into action and basically donated because you wanted to help me out. To me that means a lot because again, I didn't expect anyone to want to help me in that way, because usually, just generally speaking, I mean, even one of you brought it up before, just in terms of things like drones and stuff like that, with things like drone people have to pay fees and all that, the stereotype would be things you look at people like myself, you'd say, hey, he has a drone, like I don't have a drone, so like why bother helping a person like that? Yet a person like yourself, you basically just, again, without even thinking or hesitating, it looked like you just sprung into action and donated. I mean, it means a lot to me. And in total, basically for the camera, it only took about 11 of you guys to basically fund the whole amount. And on average with that, it was about $51.72 per person. I mean, to me that's pretty incredible in less than 2 weeks. And in total there was 13 people, and on average with that, it's about $46 each person. And the total you guys basically donated to me was $598.90. Way more than enough to pay for the replacement camera. But even this, like the highest donation was $200 per person. That is crazy. Like, I just don't know how to explain that. So I don't know if this would be boring for a lot of people, but I wanted to take the time to personally thank each and every one of you who donated and to give you kind of a personal message. Some names I recognize, some I don't, because you guys actually use different aliases and stuff like that. And hopefully I'm not going to butcher any names here in terms of pronunciation, which I probably will, unfortunately. So the very first person that donated was Creativa Sales. And you were saying to me that you were donating because you enjoyed the channel a lot, and you were saying you thought it was a small contribution, but hopefully it'll help in buying me the new camera. I don't know what you guys are talking about, man. Just in general, like anything that you guys were donating there, it's a lot of money. Like even $10, $20, that's a lot. Like I said, my mindset, like from my perspective, you'd expect people to give you maybe $1 or so, or $5, or maybe even nothing. So to me, that is a lot of money. And the fact that you were the very first person to donate, it just means a lot. Again, you didn't think twice, you just immediately say, I wanted to help the person. As well, based on the funds, I believe you're from the US, that even means even more. in terms of someone so far away from where I am was that generous to want to contribute to someone you've never seen, basically, like in real life or anything like that. So thank you again. I hope whatever aspect it is in terms of my videos and stuff, I hope I'll be able to do something even greater to add that value that you enjoy. The next person was Dennis Bradford. Now you actually donated multiple times throughout the entire period of this. To me, that just shows so much caring as well. You're the one that left a message saying that you were an old man with no family and enough money, so buy what you need to succeed with your passion. I mean, again, it just means so much to me where someone that you've never seen or met before puts all this trust to invest in you. And the fact again that you donated multiple times, or 4 times to be exact, it just makes me again want to do great things and to try my best with what you guys gave me. So thank you very much. And if there's anything in terms of things you want to see, for example, I mean, feel free to let me know, because for people all over the world, sometimes I'm not really entirely sure. Something might be really normal to me, but it could be really fascinating or interesting for other people. Maybe they learn different things, or in some funny ways, maybe it's a least expensive way to get a tour of the place, like some sights and stuff. Next up was Matt Hoffman. You're actually the example of someone whose name I haven't actually seen around here, like too much. So maybe you're more recent. It's one of those examples again in my head where did you guys come from in terms of people offering me support? Like I read in the comments that you basically enjoy the perspectives that I give out on various issues and so forth. And with that, again, it just makes me hope that I can do bigger things as well. I don't know what more I can do in terms of things like perspectives, because for me it's just about reading something, giving my personal thoughts. Like maybe in terms of perspectives, maybe in the future I'll get to speak about things I guess on a larger scale, or possibly maybe even talk or debate, if that's what you want to call it, with people of an extreme side of certain issues. Maybe that's something in the future, but if that's something that you enjoy, hopefully I'll get the opportunity to do stuff like that as well. Again, thank you very much. And oh no, a detour. Next up was Eugene Bonilla. Is that how you say it? Hopefully not butchering it again. I actually don't recognize the name in the comments because it could be people with different names and so forth. But it seemed like, again, you were from the US. You're someone who's way far away from me. And what you donated isn't like a chump change or anything as well. But just in terms of the donation stuff, funny enough, people often joke things like you say is not a lot for a lot of people. Or at the same time people say, hey, the Canadian dollar compared to the US is so little. Actually, funny enough, like when you look at it, it is in many ways. Like once you convert it, it's like, how come that's so much more? Because many times with people like yourself, I'm actually not clear in terms of exactly what each person gets. For some people, maybe it's they want to be updated with the news. Maybe they just want to see like the drone video or stuff like that. But the fact that you donated, again, to me just represents that you really believe in me, so hopefully everything that I do is basically adding great value for you as well. And again, if there's something like a person like yourself wants to see more of, feel free to let me know, because I don't know unless people actually talk. I mean, for the most part, I'm just talking in front of a camera and I try to speak to people personally because, as I said, I treat this as real people that I'm talking to, not just numbers. So thank you again. And the next one here was from I Capture Images. And you were specifically saying that you first found me because of things like the drone laws, and specifically how places like here in Canada it's constantly changing and you like keeping updated with that. I actually haven't seen you comment much, so it was actually great to hear this just from people who get value out of what I'm doing, because for the most part, again, I'm just kind of sharing what my regular life is, what is on my mind at the moment. And you can bet, as long as people are still going to be paranoid, hysteria, crazy rules and so forth, you bet it'll be on my mind because it's something that affects me personally. So don't worry, I'll continue to talk about it, and I'm just hoping I can increase my work in terms of the production value and stuff like that, because ultimately it's about trying to educate people, because I think, as demonstrated throughout the process in many ways, a lot of people react to things emotionally. So hopefully, I'm just one small guy, but hopefully we can all make things better as well in that aspect in terms of people not being terrified of this stuff. Or at the same time, people just taking away the hobby in general. I mean, I haven't been doing it as long as some people, but for myself, I do what I can with my own, I guess, interpretation, view, and style of things. So thank you again. And then there's Brandon Steinberg. You are actually one of the most, I guess, hands-on when you saw the situations. Like, you immediately messaged me saying you wanted to help in some way and all that. And because you watched my videos daily, and you even said, like, one of your comments, like, I better not even think of quitting. Not only did you donate money, but you also sent the Joby Gorilla Pod, which I actually didn't get yet, but I'll check it out. But that just shows how you're trying in so many ways to help a person like me create better things and to make sure that I can still do what I do. Actually, just a funny example of things like reading comments as real people and so forth. For some reason, for your comment that sticks out to me recently was that one where I encountered the coyote and you guys saw that guy feeding it and then you called the guy a schmuck. I don't know why, it just sticks out in my head, but because all I have to work with usually for the people I'm talking to or reading, like in the comments, is your avatar and what you write there. I've actually never heard of anyone call anyone a schmuck before. It kind of makes me curious, like, of people's backgrounds and stuff like that. But thank you very much again for all your support. And rest assured, like I mentioned, once I get that Joby Gorilla Pod, you'll see it. Just hope Canada Post didn't chuck it somewhere where it's lost in oblivion or anything like that. The next person that was up is Mark Whitaker, or is it Whittaker? For your comments, I remember early on you responded on things like the Jeffrey Lake video. So my assumption was you were just watching things mostly, I guess, for the scenery and all that. But clearly from reading some of your later comments, you're clearly into the hobby and everything like that. So it makes me wonder, is it more about just scenery like a person like you wants to see? I actually try to go on as many hikes and stuff as I can, although people say walking even places here right now is, quote, a hike. My hope is to be able to do more things like that. I mean, even flying here would be great, but yeah, you just can't because of the seaplanes and all that stuff. But that's something I constantly think about. Is there a way for me to actually do stuff like that? So thank you again for all your support. And yep, I had to take a detour here. I guess I'm gonna have to go uphill, huh? And the next up is Carlos Amat. I hope I'm pronouncing all this right. My first thought is, it's Mr. Pro Photographer. Thank you very much for donating and helping me out in this situation. To me, I actually get surprised when people like yourself actually ask me things like questions about the drones and stuff, or just capturing the video. I mean, you're the professional, technically. Why talk to a person like me, just like a regular hobbyist and all that? And then the fact that you took the time, go out of your way to donate money and stuff to help me get this new camera, I can tell you it means a lot to me. I often use people like yourselves' comments as kind of a reference point, because if it amazes a person like yourself, then hopefully the average individual, like people who are terrified of it, will be amazed even more. That's usually what my hope is as well. So thank you very much for your help to help me get back on my feet, so to speak, as they say. So the next person, I've seen you a lot. You've been here for a long time. And I just hope I don't butcher the name. Conrad Michael Rademacher? Is that how you say it? Rademacher? I just know, I remember in your comment it says German was your first language. Is this a German name, for example? I guess you're a perfect example when it comes to things like comments and stuff like that. I treat it as real people. So every bit you tell me, for example, it kind of gives me more insight in terms of who's watching, what kind of value you get. I still remember even back when that little piece, for some odd reason, came out on my Mavic controller. And you were basically telling me ways on how I can fill out that little hole and stuff like that. So even before then, you were trying to help me. And now that you actually donate me money to help me get the camera and so forth, it just means a lot. I just hope the things that I create is living up to your expectations, because you were really generous with your donation. That's not a, quote, couple of bucks. I mean, that's way more than even like Netflix subscriptions and stuff like that. And even I'm gonna assume, like, even if someone watches it for entertainment, I don't think even I could compete with something like a Netflix for that amount. But again, for people like yourself, feel free to let me know if there's something that you find interesting. I still remember that one example actually when I was doing that Cantonese school thing. I was just walking around the Chinatown and you even asked a question like, what does that sign say on the post? Like, stuff like that is great. And then I was able to tell you what it meant and all that. So if there's anything that you would want to know in that way or want me to capture, feel free to let me know. So again, thank you very much. Next up we have Robert Saunders. I think you've only been here more recently, correct? Because I haven't seen your name way before. It was only in recent times. And interestingly enough, the example of treating people like real people, I remember one of your first comments was something along the lines of like greetings or hello from like the UK. And I mentioned it to you in the comments. I don't know if anyone else read it, but with that in mind, that you said that you were from the UK, that one day when I was walking down here, I was debating, should I stop and look at the steam clock? And I remember, oh, there's that new person from the UK, maybe he'll enjoy it. And it was great to read your comment afterwards and the day after where you said you loved that part, like the steam clock. As mentioned, I actually do treat the social media aspect of it as real people that you get to connect with and talk to around the world. If you were only here more recently too, again, that's incredible. You don't even know much about me, and yet you still, just based on some stuff you saw, were willing to donate me money to help me get a new camera. So if those are the things that you enjoy, for example, just sights and sounds as well, I mean, believe me, if I ever have the opportunity and the means to do certain things, I'll do it to show everyone. Like, I know some of you guys said things like helicopters and stuff like that. Like, once this life aligns and stuff, when I can do stuff like that, I'd be glad to do that. So thank you again for all your support. And then there's Obsidian Services. I've seen your name a lot throughout the time I've been making the videos and stuff like that. I still remember you're the one that suggested to me things like the 360 camera and stuff like that. You're giving me kind of tips like, hey, how about for the community garden? Maybe I can do like some waypoint stuff to get, I guess, exact captures and all that. For me, it's really meaningful as well to see someone like yourself who's been watching me for so long, where when it came to a scenario where you know I could use some help in life, you basically went out of your way again to donate me money here to get the new camera. Because in many cases, like I wonder many times, like I don't usually expect people to help. I just assume you do your thing, people get what they want out of you in life, and then, you know, goodbye. But for someone like yourself to actually donate, even though you've been watching me all this time, it means a lot to me. So again, thank you very much. Then we have Roger Courier. Is it Courier? I was gonna say courier, like a delivery, but I think it's courier, correct? For yourself, I remember you commenting, I guess, mostly just about the visuals of when I made my drone videos, like just going on certain hikes and all that. And basically, I guess you being happy as well, where we had such ridiculous regulations here, we couldn't fly anywhere, and then once it was a little bit more lax, I guess you could say, we were able to fly more, and at the same time, people like myself could capture more as well. For yourself, one interesting note was how you went back in time essentially and looked at my older video when I got like the Mavic Pro, and you were asking, has I ever upgraded ever since? And of course not, just for things like, obviously things like budget and so forth. Because for people like yourself, I'm constantly thinking, again, what kind of value do people get in that way? Like, do people like to learn about stuff like that in terms of flying the drone, how to capture, my, I guess, way of thinking when I capture a video and all that? Because people often say with things like gear and so forth, they say it's not about the gear, like just grab anything and shoot, which is true in many ways. At the same time though, I think you all know from this camera, okay, gear plays a big role in terms of what you can and cannot capture in many ways as well, right? Thank you very much for your support. Because like I said, most people, they would just, you know, watch the drone video, they enjoy it or something like that, and then they'll be gone. But for yourself, you actually took the time to donate to me, to help me continue to do what I do with the quality that you guys are used to and all that, so thank you very much. And the last on the list is Richard Mons. I hope, again, I'm saying all this right with the names. I know you were one of the longest people that have been watching me. I still remember all these details, like you say you used to live in BC, I believe, and you keep commenting a lot, many times, like when you see the scenery, like you miss BC. I mean, hopefully, like my drone captures and stuff, it's giving you good memories and stuff like that too, of the scenery. You guys probably didn't have like crazy drone aerial videos and stuff like that back then, I guess, right? Actually, funny enough for yourself, I'm surprised you're still alive. For those who don't know, the reason why I say this is because during when we had the interim orders and stuff like that, like with all the hysteria, one of you sent me like a video what the mainstream media was using, like the fake drone video crash, the one where it completely sliced through the airplane wing like butter, like hot knife through butter, and it's completely fake, but they use that on the mainstream news. And so I published that and talked about it, and one of your comments was literally, that video is like as fake as my wife's hair color. I'm like, oh my goodness, you shouldn't be worried about drone regulations after saying that. But I guess by the looks of it, you're still okay, which is great. But as someone who's been watching me for a long time and you took the time to donate me money in this situation, thank you very much. Because again, it just gives me that great feeling that people don't just treat me as a number, for example, you're treating me as a real person as well. because a lot of people could just see me just as some fictional object or fictional character, if that's what you want to say. Like, who cares about, you know, what they're going through, their feelings and so forth. But for people like yourself to actually support me in this way, thank you very much. It means a lot. And for everyone else too, even just with your words of encouragement and everything like that, thank you very much. I know this is probably a boring video for a lot of people. For me, it means something, so hopefully you all see the value in that as well. How the heck did I walk all the way up here? Places like this would be so awesome to fly the drone, like if I could find a way to do it. Trail I had to take a detour of, so it's too dangerous. Thank you everyone again. Just like I said many times before, it's basically treat every day as a new adventure. Hopefully I get those opportunities, and funny enough, there's a bunch of ducks they're not even swimming, they're letting the wave basically guide them. So maybe that's just what I need to find in life too, right? Just to find that wave, and then hopefully I can accomplish all those things to make things better for everybody. Alright, see you guys later.